How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Gear 101. It's been a little while since a video, but I just had some kind of frustrating results with some ammo this year. Just wanted to make a quick video, kind of talk about it. First one that I want to talk about was actually last season. I decided to try the Norma Bond Strike, and I apologize I don't have any with me right now, but I'll throw up a picture of what that ammo looks like real quick. And so looking at the numbers, it should have been giving me like close to 300 Win Mag ballistics. You know, if you compare the 30-06 ammo to like a 300 Win Mag, like 165, 150, like lead nose, you know, cup and core style bullet, it would actually exceed the ballistics of that style of a bullet. So I mean, for a 30-06, it seemed like a pretty good option. But so it shot really well out of my Tika. Went to Wyoming and took an antelope at about 210 yards, a little bit high, and just completely took out like half a back strap, half a shoulder, just really explosive expansion, which, you know, at 50 to 100 yards, that would have been, I guess, maybe more acceptable to me, but at 200 yards on such a light-skinned animal, it just seemed like way too much expansion. You know, fast forward a couple of months and we were deer hunting in Minnesota. Had my son with me. He'd never been hunting before. Was actually just went back to the blind in the middle of the day just because he wanted to hunt. So figured I'd stop in for 30 minutes just to kind of let him get the feeling that he'd been hunting. Wasn't actually expecting to see anything, but 5 does came out. Decided to take a doe for, you know, some meat and everything. And the shot was, I think, 40 yards. Hit it perfectly, and I mean, this was a young deer, and like I said, hit it perfectly. 40 yards, 180 grain, 30-06. The deer ran maybe 60 yards into some thick stuff and just stood there and just kind of stood and coughed, and it was too thick to shoot again. I finally laid down, and I mean, it took way too long for that deer to die. So I was a little confused as to what had happened. Walk up on the deer, and it turns out it was a perfect hit, but the bullet basically disintegrated as soon as it hit the skin. I mean, it looked like you'd set a cherry bomb off on the deer's skin. You know, I mean, it just, like, no vitals were touched. I mean, it literally just bled to death from, you know, like a flesh wound essentially. Really poor performance. So I told myself, you know, I will not use that bullet again. And you know, I guess take everything I say with a grain of salt. You know, try it yourself if you don't, you know, believe me or whatever. If your hunting style just has you shooting 200 yards and farther, it's probably fine. But just keeping in mind that, you know, a lot of guys are shooting under 200 and even under 100. So I was not at all impressed with the performance of the Norma Bond Strike. The next ammo that I want to talk about is the Federal Terminal Ascent. I do have that here. This is in 6.5 PRC. Looks like it's 3,000 feet per second. I'm guessing that's out of a 24-inch barrel. So this was one that I really wanted to like. It just, again, for when you look at the numbers, it just looks really impressive, like too good to be true type deal. The box for the 6.5 PRC actually says lethal to 0 to 1,100 yards. I was like, well, that sounds, you know, pretty awesome. But again, similar results. I mean, it shot well. I was shooting it out of a Bergara squared crest, so 20-inch barrel. I've not chronoed it, but I'm guessing probably around 2,900 feet per second, so not blazing fast by any means. Shot a buck this year at 130 yards. It was quartering too, you know, a fair bit actually. But again, starting at 2,900 feet per second, 130 yards, it's not like that bullet was smoking fast when it hit that animal. And I actually do have a picture of the deer after I skin it out. The shot felt good, and I mean, you know, that gun shoots really well, so I knew it was a good hit. But the deer just kind of jumped off into the brush, and that was that. I walked up there, it was snow on, and so I was like, oh, this is, you know, be easy to tell where it went. I could see where the deer had ran just because of its tracks. It was the only tracks in that area. Wasn't a speck of blood. I mean, none. But I followed the tracks, and I followed the tracks probably 40 yards, maybe 30 to 40 yards, and the deer was laying dead. But again, no blood. When it laid dead, it finally had, maybe coughed a little bit, or some blood had come up out of its nose, but that was it. Nothing out of the actual wound. But skin it out, and again, quartering 2, so you would expect to see some damage up front, and then find the bullet in either the bullet would exit at 130 yards, or you'd find it, mushroomed in the rear ham or something like that. Never found the bullet. There was no trace of the bullet anywhere. What I had was a 6.5 millimeter entry hole, and then immediate catastrophic damage to the shoulder. I mean, there was nothing left. So I'll throw a picture in. Fair warning, it's a little bit graphic there, but just to kind of show you what it did. I mean, it completely ruined the shoulder. Went in and just immediately destroyed everything and just disintegrated. So I'm thinking worst case scenario, hit the bone. But I mean, in my opinion, at 130 yards hitting the bone, I don't want that kind of result. And I know some people really like this ammo, and honestly, I really wanted to like this ammo, so it's not like I'm bashing on it. I've always had super good luck with Federal, and always shoots pretty good as far as accuracy their stuff does out of my rifle. So wanted to really like it, but ultimately, if I get that kind of result at 130 yards, it's really tough for me to confidently take it into the woods again, because shooting all kinds of different animals across the country, I feel like majority of the shots have been under 200, and the majority of those shots were under 100. So I want something that's going to perform up close for sure, and the Norma Bond Strike and the Federal Terminal Ascent just doesn't seem to be cutting it. But if you've had different results with either one of them, I mean, definitely let me know. I'm curious to see what others have said, and I don't doubt that the Federal would be a pretty good option under more ideal circumstances, perfectly broadside shot. But you're not always going to get that in the field. Anybody that's hunted long enough knows that, and you don't want to be 100 yards away from bull elk of a lifetime quartering to you, and you can't take the shot because you have the wrong bullets. So for that reason, I guess I'm kind of looking into maybe some all copper options or something. If anybody has experience with like the Barnes LRX, it's supposed to do better at longer range, but will it hold together at 50 yards? I don't know. If you have tested that out, definitely let me know. But otherwise, guys, I'm not trying to bash on anything. Just want to give you my experiences, and you can kind of take with that what you want. But I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Make sure you're subscribed. Until next time, see you later.